Today I'm really happy and proud actually to have with me Yifan, who is the CEO of Red Day Technology and also part of the blockchain, which is actually founding member of the blockchain-based service network that I have covered here also on this channel a couple of times. It's a very exciting giant blockchain infrastructure project basically out of China. And personally, I have lived in China for a couple of years, so I basically saw it, how it, how vibrant the blockchain economy is there. And in the West, we always hear about, oh my God, China is banning crypto, is banning Bitcoin, they hate blockchain. But that's not the case. So today I have Yifan on, and we're going to talk about a lot of things. Just quick heads up, here on this channel, we talk a lot about the interoperability that Cosmos is doing. And I know that the IRATA is also heavily kind of like built on Tendermint, uses IBC and all those kind of things. So we'll be talking about this. But first things first, Yifan, how is everything going?
Very good. Thank you for the invite. I'm honored to be here.
That's my honor. I'm also really excited to speak to you. But so before we talk about things like how the Chinese blockchain strategy works, and also a little bit about the digital yuan, I've written a paper about this a couple of months ago. Also interested to hear your thoughts. Can you give a little bit of an introduction about yourself and also Red Day Technologies, and then how it basically became a founding member of what then is becoming BSM now?
Okay. My name is Yifan He, and I'm the CEO of Red Day Technology. Red Day was founded in 2014. I'm the founder, and I have been the CEO since then. Before that, I was in the private equity industry. So I was an investor for almost 10 years. So, I think before we get into the blockchain industry, we were working on the smart city project. Also with China Mobile, China Union Pay. That's why we know each other and trust each other. I think it was 2018 September. Actually, it's 2018 September 13th. Okay, that day, we come up with the idea we need an infrastructure for the future of blockchain. And we realized blockchain technology is not about crypto. It's not even about public chain or permission chain. It's actually a new way to communicate data, in a broadcasting way. So we believe in the future there will be one more layer on the internet to handle broadcasting, protocols. So that's actually the fundamental reason we started the whole thing. Then we say, okay, let's build this layer. Then, but there's no way you can just build a layer of protocols just out of blue. So then we begin to study all the, permission chains, public chains to understand, how they works. And then we say, okay, let's integrate all the chains together, make people to easier to use, get people trained, familiar with the technology. That's how, a new technology moves. But our ultimate goal is to realize this one more layer on the internet. Then, you can, with this kind of communication, data communication between different IT systems, then you can build anything you want. You can build, crypto, you can build, a new very secure data channel to communicate with your partners. You can join, basically it's, changes the internet's linear transmission between IT systems to a broadcasting way to transmit data among IT systems.
Yeah, and what I found very interesting is that BSN is not just focusing on like, okay, let's connect all blockchains, but you're also building an entire cloud system, right? With what's called public city nodes, PCNs. And there's also like the physical architecture and infrastructure in cities. And that makes a lot of sense that Red Tech has smart city experience and has been active in that space. But so can you talk a little bit about the founding members and how BSN started in the first place? Because there's some very big names, and also to which degree is the Chinese government involved in that?
Okay. First, we consider the BSN is not really a commercial project. So it's more like a public infrastructure. So we actually built that just like internet. Who owns the internet? No one owns. Some company build data centers, someone build the website, someone put the physical line under the ground. That form the internet. So nobody owns the internet. So it's the same thing. Our original plan is to build the BSN into something like the internet. So what's the internet? Internet actually is the communication channels to connecting all the physical data centers. Then that's and all the computers, everything, link them together. It becomes the internet. That's actually why we build the public city now, because it's a virtual data center within physical data center. Then link those virtual data center together, form the layer I mentioned. So that's why actually right now it's not only 4 founding members. It's like a group of companies, from outside China, inside China. So we're basically working together to build the whole thing. Because we were working with China Mobile and China Union Pay for the smart city project. That's why when we come up with the idea, the first 2 company I talked to is them. Okay, and luckily is the China Mobile understand networking very well. They are the largest mobile network in the world. Okay, and China Union Pay, they understand crypto very well because they follow that. They are financial services company. So that's why when I tell them the idea, not just say the crypto, this kind of application, go a little bit deeper, say what's a fundamental technology, then they actually understood very, very well. Then we 3 just hit off and started the project. But like I said, the BSN is a public infrastructure. In China, if you want to build infrastructure, you need the backing of the government. Okay, so otherwise it won't go anywhere. So then we talk with NDRC and the State Information Center. Then they're interested. Then they get involved too. But right now, until now, there's no direct investment from the government to BSN. It's totally invested by Red Days, and China Mobile invested the cloud resources to build the initial public city node, and the China Union Pay put the teams together to understand how BSN can serve the financial industry. So we basically handle, and also after that, we're working with all the framework owners, the public chains, how to integrate their technologies. They also, do part of the work. And then we work with the, AWS, those major clouds, how we integrate those public city chain, public city node, very neatly into their clouds. Then we can build this global infrastructure. So it's a collaboration of many companies, entities now. But until now, there's no direct investment from the Chinese government into BSN.
Okay, that's very interesting. Yeah, and there's also a list of permissionless blockchains that are already integrated in BSN. I'm just gonna name a few: Ethereum, Algorand, Solana, Casper. I think Casper is one of the latest ones. Nervous, Neo, Tezos, IrisNET. Like a lot of crypto projects or blockchain projects in that sense. That we all know. I'm a crypto person, so I'm talking a lot about cryptocurrencies, about blockchain, but not too much. I mean, of course, everybody tries to get rich quick with crypto, and that's all speculation. That's all fine. But I think underneath it, like you were saying earlier, it's a new layer. It's a next evolution in how we communicate, and that's a big thing, right? And so, like I said earlier, everybody in the West, especially people that have never been to China, they think China hates blockchain and crypto because the exchanges are banned and this and that. But I've lived there, and when I came to Shanghai, I'm like, oh my god, this is the epicenter of blockchain. Like, there's so much development going on, so much VC funding. Even the government is interested. Like, they're not looking to ban everything. They're actually looking to how can we make use of that. Of course, in a very compliant and maybe for some people strict way. But in China, there's 1.3 billion people. I mean, I think you need some way to kind of like regulate those things. So what is, from your perspective, the strategy that China does, the Chinese government, with crypto and blockchain And also, what are your personal views? I mean, previously I asked you before the call, what do you think of crypto? And you just said like, I'm not a big fan. So yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
Okay. First, what you just said is actually a little bit messed up with all the concepts. The first, the fundamental one is what we're trying to build. It's a new protocol like HTTP protocol to enable all the IT systems can communicate in a virtual network through a broadcasting transmission. Okay. That then on top of that, build like blockchain technology. Blockchain technology is not crypto. It's technology. Then people use, based on the blockchain technology, they build application called crypto. So the Chinese government attitude is toward the first two is favorable, okay, but the application they banned, okay. Actually, there's no turning back. It's like in China, the government supports steel industry, but they don't support companies to build guns. Okay, so it's similar. So they like the technology, but they don't like some application built based on the technology. So that's why, and the crypto is banned, prohibited, almost for I think at least the next 5 to 10 years. I don't see that could be taken back. The problem is first the central bank in China consider all the regulator consider crypto as an investment vehicle. So it's actually a security. Then if it's a security, the most important regulation for all the country is enforce fair trading. Okay. Because, right now it's almost impossible to regulate public chains. Then it cannot, for example, how you stop inside information trading on the crypto. There's always people know something before everybody else for some public chains, some announcements. If they buy first, then it's not fair. How you regulate that? So if they cannot regulate this, they ban this. So I personally, I think it's we need to make sure it's a security. Then they need a fair trading. So that's actually, and also second one is there's no tax income from crypto. I mean, no matter it's mining, trading, anything, there's no income because the government couldn't even trace all the transactions. So it's nobody, So for example, mining, the miners made a lot of money, but zero tax to Chinese government. So then I mean, why the government need to support you? So I think for China, the crypto industry basically is banned. Okay, there's I don't see that relax the index foreseeable, but the government actually push the technology a lot. Okay, I mean all the local government, central government, they actually put in, I think this year billions RMB to build the government related blockchain technology. Even some of the the project that will not be really put in use, but that money actually support the entire industry. So that's very, very important.
Yeah, I think even President Xi said this like 1.5, 2 years ago. I think in October 2019. I think that China is going to become the global leader in blockchain development.
Yes.
And I mean, the pace at which China innovates and goes further. The first time I was in China was 2012.
Yeah.
And back then it was still a lot, paper money. If you buy noodles on the street, it's like you pay with cash. Taxi, you pay with cash. Last time I went to China was 2019. It's only Alipay or WeChat Pay. You order everything on Didi. You order your everything, right? It's all online. Even in restaurants, QR codes are on the table. You scan, you pay, you go. It's very, very kind of like digital already. And I think in terms of the blockchain development as well. But I have one question to that. I don't know if you can answer that or want to answer that. But I'm going to ask you because now we've seen the first nation state to purchase Bitcoins, right? El Salvador yesterday made Bitcoin legal tender. And then they even bought Bitcoin. Like the president was tweeting yesterday, like, "Oh, we hold now 550 Bitcoin." So what do you think about this? And do you think that President Xi is ever going to come on Twitter and say the Chinese government just bought 500 Bitcoins?
No, it will never happen. Even for next 5 presidents in China, it won't happen. Okay, because first, I think it's actually a bad idea to make cryptocurrency as a legal tender in any country, because it legalizes a lot, unregulated money movements. Then I mean, why we have so many regulations, on the money? Because money can be used for the good way and for bad ways. That's why there's. But when you give a backing from a national level, then it actually legalizes a lot of things for bad ways. So that's actually, I believe the World Bank and some large this kind of financial regulators, they basically warn that this is bad thing. It will cause a serious problem. I mean, some people launder money, then because it's a legal tender, it's like you are using US dollar. So then, but you cannot regulate that as US dollar, then it's very risky. We cannot only say the good part, we need to make sure the bad part won't be used by bad people. So that's why I really don't think it's a good idea. We cannot, and also because it become legal tender is always regulated. Then I think the idea is somehow the country become an exchange. Everybody need to buy through from a central agency. Then they become the largest exchange in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way they did it is that there's a government application that you download from the App Store. And this case, basically everything goes through that, and it also implements the Lightning Network, because otherwise Bitcoin is not usable anyways, because it's way too slow and it's just inefficient. So I think in the end of the day, the government in El Salvador, they still hold custody, right, of every fund.
Then they become the exchange. Then they actually, I mean, from one perspective, they can actually make money off their citizens.
Yeah, true, and also control much more.
Then it's lose the fundamental meaning of legal money. Okay, because the legal money, you need to make sure it's stable. People can enjoy their life. It's money. It's just an instrument, to exchange merchandise. Now you basically convert your fundamental, function of money into an investment vehicle. Then I really think it's bad idea. It's bad idea.
So let's go back to BSN, because you guys, I think, are already pretty far, and most people, especially here in the West, are not really aware of what you even do. So can you share a little bit about the 5 to 10 year vision, what you want BSN to become? I also read somewhere in the documentation you want to become the Internet of blockchains, which is also in that spirit that Cosmos and Iris is trying to become. So can you share a little bit what that means and how you plan to get there?
Okay. First, we changed the idea. We don't want to build a blockchain of internet. We want to build one more layer on internet. Okay, so that's something we improved. So that's why in 5 years, actually in 3 years, we by working with dozens of other blockchain companies and tech companies, we will release a new protocol. Okay, it's just like the HTTP protocol. It's any developer can just use one line of code, then can build a virtual network with other IT systems very easily. Should be no cost at all. And within this, broadcasting communication channel, they can build anything. They can build a consensus in it. They can build how to store the data, wherever they want. They can even easily to build a chain and to issue a crypto. It's really depends on them. This actually, the technology already existing in all the public chains, because that's how they even communicate between nodes. So we just want to make sure to find the best one and simplify that into a more common version. Then it will be very light. It can be plugged into any web server and enable this kind of communication. So there's no crypto, there's no blockchain. It's just a common protocol. And then because right now, I think more than 60% of the traffic on the internet goes through the HTTP protocol, right? Then, I mean, what's the internet? It's a TCP/IP protocol and the HTTP protocol connecting all the hardwares. Then next layer is similar protocol will generate a lot of traffic by this broadcasting way of data. So that means there will be hardware, there will be software, there will be operating system, there will be tools, there's a whole lot of industry. So this common protocol will be open source and become a standard. You can even call your own protocol, then all the servers can communicate. But our business model is build all the commercial product around that new layer of the internet. So that's basically what BSN is. Eventually, BSN will evolve into a common protocol and also a cloud hosting services for this kind of new layer of the internet.
Interesting. And so BSN is also going to be then rolled out at a global scale, right? Because I think right now it's mostly focused within China. You're still in the development phase, building all these PCN nodes and all these kind of things. But in that context, what links, what connections does BSN then have with the yuan, the Chinese digital yuan, which is actually a new digital currency that is built and currently being built by the Chinese government? I think there's the 4th or 5th public testing phase right now already, with a lot of public banks, commercial banks, giant companies also like McDonald's and Starbucks. So what is the ties here between BSN and the I think ECNY is now the name, right?
Or DCEP. Yeah, it's first we already expand internationally. We have public city nodes in 6 continents. Okay, so the reason why we put into different continents because we need to test the speed of any public any production technology, because it's very long transmission, so long way, long distance, so we can test all the efficiencies, everything. And also we also start to working with local partners to build a local portal. We call that BSN portal because BSN infrastructure is the infrastructure. We don't serve end user. We provide APIs to the website, then they can build the front end. Then they serve their end user. So we already signed an agreement to open up the Korean portal, Turkey portal, basically our first European portal. So we are expanding, international. Also, the portal actually is, owns all the personal data. That's why on the BSN there's no any personal data. Each portal just manages their own users and through API to use BSN capabilities and functions. So because it's BSN is infrastructure, BSN is not a chain. Okay, first it's not a chain. We just integrate all the chains, integrate all the clouds, and integrate and promoting all the portals. Blockchain technology and the clouds. That's the 3 most important component of the BSN. So that's why we any application or project can be built on BSN. So we are getting ready, and we if the DCEP one day allow to be circulated on non-government infrastructure, then we will be ready. So, but I think that will take a while. DCEP is the first CBDC in the world, but it's I think the Chinese government, the PBOC, People's Bank of China, they actually take a very reasonable pace. They because the ultimate, what's the form of ultimate CBDC is no commercial banks. Everybody has a digital wallet with a central bank. Then you manage your own money. Right now, you don't own your own money because all your money is in the commercial bank. They use that to give loans, everything. You have no control whatsoever. You just have a number in the statement. So, but with digital currency, you actually control your own money within your own wallet. So that's but that's a big impact to the business model of commercial banks. So that's why the PBOC, they actually take a reasonable pace. Right now, if you want to open a wallet, you still need to go through commercial bank. It lost some meaning of CBDC, but I think it's a reasonable pace. But also the China has capital control, which means if you cannot easily to move money in and out of China, So that's why it will take a while for DCEP to get circulated outside commercial banks and outside China. I think outside China probably take another at least 5 years. At least 5 years.
Have you personally used the DCEP already?
Not really, not really, because it's no different than a special account within commercial bank. So when people use, I don't have that on my phone, but I use my friend's phone. Just did some small, transfer stuff. It's exactly same, just like a commercial bank account within the app. It's just labeled a special account.
Yeah, and I think there's also a lottery every now and then where people win and some of the digital yuan, and then they can spend it. I think that's a very cool thing to get people also engaged and start using it and spending it. But are you familiar with any initiative from the government if they are building something like BSN that is specifically only designed for DCP, that would maybe bring DCP also internationally on the scale, right? I'm asking this because China is also right now building the Belt Road Initiative, right, where you're rolling out a whole new kind of like infrastructure from China to Europe. And I'm personally thinking like, hey, it would make a lot of sense, if you want to roll out DCP in a global scale, the Belt Road Initiative is probably the perfect starting point, to get DCP in the world. Is that a reasonable thought, or am I completely wrong?
It's actually reasonable, but there's no such project yet. Because like I said, China officially has capital control. So that's why it's a legal problem. It's not technical. So technically you can build anything. I mean, China is very good at building anything. So it's, building that kind of like BSN, we built this in 2 years, very complicated system. But the problem is when the DCEP to be circulated in another country, it need a legal structure to define that. You can just not just, like a foreign bank, for example, a bank in Singapore to handle DCEP. Then they need a legal framework. They need to build a system within the bank. Then how the BPOC to issue digital currency to Singapore bank, they need to go through Singapore Central Bank. Then how the Singapore Central Bank get those digital yuan? How? Probably they need to use US dollar to buy it.
Yeah.
So if you go through the legal structure, you feel, okay, there's a lot, moving parts, undefined, then you need to work that out. I think that takes a lot of time. And also that country need to officially accept digital yuan to be circulated within the country. And you need to build a similar infrastructure like we already built in China to handle digital yuan. So it's a lot of work. A lot of legal process. So that's why I think it will need at least 5 years for any foreign, financial entity to handle, digital yuan.
Yeah. But I think it will happen. And I think China is also very well positioned to kind of like potentially maybe even one day replace the US dollar in the global reserve currency. So we'll see about that.
I mean, personally, I don't agree. I don't agree. Actually, the vice president of BPOC didn't agree too. He made a speech like 2 months ago. He said, okay, we are not competing with US dollar. Because when you change the form of the currency, doesn't mean you change the power or nature of that currency. So, I mean, we are not Superman. You put on different suits, then you become much powerful. No, I put on another suit. I'm still Yifan He, and I can still do so much I can do. So, which means the powerless of currency really depends on the country. How powerful it is, how many people trust you. It involves a lot since it's beyond it's beyond my understanding. But it's the form of the currency. Probably it will be a little bit easier to be circulated, but it doesn't mean people trust you or people want to use you. So I don't think those two things can be even related to each other, because you have digital yuan, then you can have a much stronger position in the world currency world. Currency world. I don't agree with that concept.
And before we go back to talk about BSN, I have two more questions about that. What are your thoughts about, do you know what is the current stage of DCP? I've seen just there were like public rollouts and testings and a lot of integrations, like I said earlier, with commercial banks and big companies, also restaurants and food chains. What is the current stage, and when do you think it kind of like replaces the current yuan?
Personally, I don't think it will replace the current yuan. I think it will probably take 10 years at least. And also it need the technology need to grow and make them more digital currency. Right now it's still a commercial bank special account kind of structure. But it's ready. It's ready. I mean, officially, it definitely will get launched. Okay, official launched before the Winter Olympic. So it's February next year. So in next 3 to 4 months, it will be officially launched.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. All right. And then I have two last questions regarding BSN. As I said earlier, I'm covering a lot about Cosmos, IBC, interoperability. I have a lot of Cosmos people here on my channel as well. I also had Jeffrey, who is the research director of IrisNET, and we talked a lot about Iris and their partnership with you. So can you talk about that? Also, how the Arata framework fits into BSN and the importance of interoperability, basically.
Okay, the company behind IrisNET called Bianjie, the Bianjie AI. So first, it's a great company. Okay, Harry is a great CEO and very technical, doing great things. Actually, BSN is working very closely with them. We integrate IrisNET. Our interchain protocol, one of them is Arita. And they convert IrisNET into a permission version. Be one of our open permissioned chain on BSN China, and they're actually doing very great. They have become a major platform for NFT, legal NFTs in China. I mean, the Forbidden City. Even convert there some artwork into NFT and stored in the open permissioned IrisNET. So it's actually we are working very, very closely with Bianjie, and we like the technology. Okay, we think the Cosmos technology is very neat and well built. Because we understand their technology very well. We understand the public chain. We even working with BNG to build the open permission chain, and we actually changed a lot the codes to integrate that as one of the fundamental interoperability protocol on BSN. So it's actually it's one of the company we actually working on a daily basis.
Very interesting, yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that you also already mentioned, the NFTs. Jeffrey also told me about that with the Forbidden City that tokenized parts of their artwork as NFTs. So can we also see something like that maybe through BSN, that you have some sort of like NFT marketplace that you can also tokenize, maybe not just like artworks, but also I'm thinking about real estate, right? For example, you can represent real estate as NFTs, and then people can invest into that. People can buy that and trade that. Is that also something that we could see, or is that not on a roadmap?
Actually, we don't touch applications. So we don't touch, but we are working on some project. This is first time I can say this in public. Actually, we are building fundamental services called NFT Maker. Then we will provide APIs. Any website, any app, any IT system, they call those APIs with services. Then they can actually build NFT on any public chain and permission chain. So we make building NFT as easy as click a button.
Wow. Okay, that's interesting.
But we don't care. We don't care how you use them. It's real estate or commercial. It's up to you. We don't touch applications, but we build capabilities and services to serve the business needs.
Interesting. And you also have an integration of Casper. I think that was the most recent one, right?
Yes.
What's the collaboration with them?
4 months ago, yeah.
So what is the collaboration with them? Are they also just a permissionless kind of like integration of their chain, or?
Yes, it's now it's the first step is that, but we are also discuss with coming to China, build the OPB, and also actually we are doing a lot of marketing with Casper. You can see, we have webinars. We actually, wrote some articles to do introductions, stuff like that. We're actually working with Casper closely.
Awesome. Okay, and then last question to wrap things up. What is your outlook for next year, for the next 12, 40 months? Also, how will, in your opinion, Chinese regulators maybe, I don't know, ban crypto even more or something like that? What are your thoughts on that? The blockchain progress in China and also your goals with BSN.
Okay. First, because we are still a Chinese company, BSN is from China. If we want to really promote BSN internationally, we need to follow international standards. That's why in next 2 years, actually a major step for us is open source. So then, everybody can build database, the virtual data center, everybody can build the portals, everybody can integrate their chain onto this network. So, more and more people can get involved. So open source is number one thing. And also for next 20 years, let's say next year, I think the Chinese government will even put more investment and effort into promoting blockchain as a technology, because they really, really think, actually, many people in the government, have shared the same vision as me, because they consider this as an underlying technology, not some application. They also believe heavily, in the future, more and more IT system and the data transmission on the internet will go through this kind of new protocol. So they actually share the same vision with me. So they will put more and more investments and also into this industry. That actually is good for all the startups related to blockchain. But for crypto, like I said, there's no turning back. Okay, if they will do something, it will even ban the crypto even more. So just like I said, it's just like in China, the guns are banned. Okay, in the US, there's like 300 million guns, but in China, there's none. no guns, outside the legal use. So that's just like crypto. It will be banned. It won't ease up in next 5 years or 10 years.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time. It's almost 45 minutes now, so I really, really appreciate that. And yeah, I'll link everything under this video so people can also find you and also join your webinars. And I think there's a lot of content that your team also does. So yeah, thank you so much. And I'll keep track of everything and potentially have you on in a couple of months again. That would be cool.
Yeah, sure. Anytime. My job is to talk.
Okay. Thank you so much. Take
care.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.